want a golden goose.
Here we go again.
All right, sweetheart, all right. Daddy will get you a golden goose as soon as we get home.
No, I want one of those.
She can't have one.
Who says I can't? I want the world. I want the whole world. I want to lock it all up in my pocket. It's my bar of chocolates. Give it to me now. I want today. I want tomorrow. I want to wear 'em like braids in my hair, and I don't want to share 'em.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Chadman and Randy Show. Thank you for joining us. Hope you guys liked that live podcast we did on the drive down to the Dodgers-Anaheim game. It was a lot of fun, actually. I had a good time. And I'm pretty excited that we're able to do something like that and, record outside the studio. It gives us kind of a thing.
Just makes it mobile so we can play with it a little bit.
Yeah, and thank you guys all for listening. We know who's out there who's listening to us. I hear it all the time from people either through messages, through text messages, emails, whatever. We appreciate it, man. We're out there doing what we like. Look, man, when I set out to do this, I don't know about Randy, but when I set out to do this, this was more of a therapeutic thing for me. I was doing the whole veteran thing, and that was kind of doing something for me for a while. But now here I am doing this with Randy, and I enjoy it. So I get just as much enjoyment out of it as some of you who are telling me that you listen and you like the show. So thanks a lot.
Let's make the mention, too, though, that we got a shirt order going in on Friday. So if anybody wants in, send us a message, and we can go from there to see how that works out for everybody, and we can place a bigger order.
Yeah, we got people that are coming to us for shirts and everything, and there's a couple designs, right?
There's only one right now.
With the basic logo.
The face one, yeah.
Right. But, I mean, they can get, like, different shirts. So, like, for example, if you're a woman, you want a V-neck, there's different options, right?
Yeah, there's different options. There's different colors, too.
Yeah, so there's different options.
It's on the website. You can look it up, send us a message. And I think the PayPal's working now. We're having some issues with it yesterday. But if anything else, send us a message, and we'll work on it.
A lot of people are kind of wondering about if it's the Chadman Randy Show, because I've got probably 4 or 5 different messages of people telling me, hey, man, I go to this website, it's not coming up. It's chadmanandrandyshow.com. It's not the. There's no the, so don't bother putting the. But so that's probably why a lot of you can't get to the website. It's everywhere, though. We posted it on our Facebook. It's on social media. Check it out and get a shirt. Wear it to our next event, which is July 2nd at B Riders here in Bakersfield. It's going to be a red, white, and blue party. Beads, flags, patriotism, all kinds of shit. And trust me, we're going to be adding some stuff to it. It's going to be awesome.
Looks like costumes are getting thrown in the mix here, too.
It's going to be a fun fucking time. You guys can have a great time. It's going to be awesome. So check that out. If you're not on Facebook, then just keep listening. Or if you're not in Bakersfield, I guess it really doesn't concern you, but it'd be kind of cool if you can make the drive. I know a lot of you guys are in LA and Orange County. Awesome. Okay, so what's going on?
So we do assholes in the news, or what do we want to do?
Yesterday I sat down for lunch and I started watching C-SPAN just because. And I came across C-SPAN 2, because there's like C-SPAN 1, C-SPAN 2, C-SPAN 3. And the first one was just some dude talking about his book. And then the second C-SPAN channel I turned to, it says catfish inspections. Now, I know a lot of times they name these bills after people and after different things and places, but this was an actual fucking debate with John McCain, Barbara Boxer, like big senators, and they were debating and voting on fucking catfish inspections.
So you got Barbara Boxer and John McCain, two people from states who have no fucking water in it, debating the issues of fish.
And what was funny about it is that there were other guys there, other senators there, which I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but you see them all the time. And they're debating catfish inspections and turn it into something way bigger than it was. So it almost appeared like it was these groups, these left groups and these right groups that were disagreeing on I guess, some kind of environmental programs or some shit and funding, and they just happen to choose catfish inspections for it. And I'm watching these fucking people go round and round and round, and I had to Facebook Live it because it really pissed me off, because out of everything that we have going on, they picked the most mundane shit to argue about, right?
Right, but let's get into the fact that I'm sure, for one, that bill is probably a couple hundred pages long, And it starts off as catfish inspections, but I'm sure that there's bills for somebody's pet project. There's parts for somebody's
No, it's
pet
got
project.
pork in it. Yeah, of course it's got
That, you
pork
know,
in it.
to finance some hydroelectric plant and who knows whatever else. I mean,
But that's a corruption, and we sit here and we talk about it, and these news people, they talk about it, and these guys on radio, they talk about it. It's almost to the point, well, I'm almost to the point where you can talk and talk and talk and post and share things, but nothing ever gets done. I think the average person thinks that if they post something and share it on Facebook or share some meme about government corruption, they've done their part. It's like, okay, I've done my part. I've spread the word. And then you get guys like us who have shows, and then people with radio shows and TV shows, and that's really it. It's like, okay, well, I've talked about this on AM channel whatever for 3 hours. I've done my part. People listened. But nobody actually ever does any action. There's not enough action. So people are so... It's funny because all these fucking problems and all these issues, nobody does anything. They think that just going out there and talking is going to do enough.
but it's the whole thing is that we're taught to believe, like with the presidential election right now, we're taught to believe that if you vote for the Libertarian candidate, you're throwing your vote away. That's what everybody's been taught, that, well, if you vote for the Libertarian candidate, they've got no fucking chance of winning, and that you're basically giving a vote to Hillary Clinton if you vote for the third-party candidate, or you're giving a vote for Trump, whichever side that whoever's telling you is on. And if there's enough of us that were dissatisfied, we could make the difference, but what's we're bought and sold is that there's no chance and you're just wasting your time.
Because even, okay, I'm not talking about protest, because protesting, going out there with signs, it's no different than going...
That's awareness.
It's awareness. And whether it's the veteran suicide or the ice bucket challenge, people think that if they do the push-ups and dump the ice on them and share the meme, that... And yeah, I'm using us, host a podcast, host a radio show, host a TV show, that's doing something. And in reality, all it's doing is just continuing to throw fuel on the fire when actually the fire should be taken out. Someone's going to listen to this and think, man, Chad's going to go fucking kill somebody. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that talking and being aware of something only does so much. When are you actually going to get right down to it and start showing some kind of action to change this shit?
Here's the problem with government is that, okay, you take that catfish, that their catfish inspection, and you look at that and you're watching it and people are looking at it and they go, this stupid shit. The government has gotten so comfortable in ripping us off that they'll let us call them stupid. Let us think that they're stupid, and they'll be willing to be able to be called stupid while they're stealing our money. That's the cross they'll bear, that they're willing to take to look dumb so they can rip you off.
Look at this right here, man. Update. There's a riot at Trump New Mexico rally. Okay, Mexican flag waving mob. Okay, these people, it seems like all the people who are protesting Trump, they're getting out there. Sometimes Bernie Sanders was just quoted last week and I had to agree with him because he says sometimes democracy is not pretty. He couldn't be more right. I'm not backing Bernie Sanders. I'm just saying that what he said was right. Sometimes democracy is not pretty. Sometimes the talking and...
Was it a blood of patriots to, feed the tree of liberty type thing?
And here's where it's coming down to, is that it's going to get rough. It has to get rough. Things have gone on so far. The corruption, the lies, the partisanship, the division. We're past the point of pleasantries. That's what I keep telling everybody on Facebook when people tell me, man, dude, you said exactly what I'm thinking, Chad. Man, thank you for saying it. And then other people are like, man, don't you think that was a little harsh? Or, hey, you could have said that differently. No, because the times for pleasantries are over.
Yeah, but take it to a smaller level. This is a problem with the country in a whole. Take it down to the smallest level. Take it to your house, to your home. Now, if you come home and tell your kid, or your kids, you go, hey, Dad's got his hours cut at work or whatever. We're not going to be able to afford Netflix this month or something like that. All hell's going to break loose. We're in a period of time, and that's just a small example.
You're talking about in general, because in my house that wouldn't matter.
But where cuts need to be made, We're not a society that wants to cut. We're too cell phone selfies,
We become spoiled, man. And look, let me explain to you just how spoiled we are. In 2006, I went to New Orleans 3 days after Hurricane Katrina hit. My unit was sent there, and part of what we had to do is go knock on doors and look for people, survivors, and help people who were stranded and all that shit, right? You guys, everyone knows what I'm talking about. You've seen it. Everyone's seen it on TV.
You have to do the writing on the buildings for like the all clear and all that shit.
Yeah. So we'd have to go knock on doors, and if nobody answered, we'd bust through the house, search the house, check for dead bodies, and depending on what we found, we'd get the spray paint. That was actually my job as like one of the lowest ranking guys. I would go and spray paint a big circle on the outside of the house, and based on how you did it, you'd be able to say, no dead or one person dead or whatever it was. You had to do it. One thing I noticed is that when I was in the 9th Ward, which is the roughest, harshest, poorest part of New Orleans, you would come across houses where there was nice cars in the driveway, there was big screen TVs, and in those days, DVDs were the shit, so you had a lot of DVDs. You had nice things in these houses, but this was considered the ghetto. This was the worst part of New Orleans, where everyone's supposed to be poor. You wouldn't expect to see leather furniture. Now, I'm sure some of these people were drug dealers or whatever, but at the same time, when your poorest people are fat and having nice things, that says a lot about the country as a whole. I mean, it used to be that when you were hungry and poor, you were skinny.
Yeah, you starved.
Now you go and
you die of diabetes.
And you can go walk through a fucking Walmart, and we all laugh at the Walmart people. And some of these people that go through Walmart who clearly aren't rich, okay, they're not like well off or anything. They're fat. They're unhealthy. Because let's face it, it's cheaper to go take, if you don't have a lot of money, it's cheaper to take your kids.
Little Debbie's are cheaper than vegetables.
Exactly.
That's always the example that we use.
Exactly. And it's cheaper to go take your kid to get a fucking $1.99 value meal or a 99-cent cheeseburger or a 99-cent 4-piece from Burger King than it is to go cook a meal. That we're spoiled.
Well, there's also laziness involved in there too, because you see these women who are on welfare and all this, and they're using their EBT cards and their WIC, and they don't go shop. They take their kids out, their school-age children, out to the grocery store at 9, 10 o'clock at night on a school night to go grocery shopping, when they've been sitting on their ass all day.
But laziness comes with being spoiled. So it's the same thing. So we're a spoiled nation. And look, man, when I say what I just said, that America's spoiled, people hear that and they want to automatically assume that, Chad's not a patriot anymore, or Chad's a traitor, or Chad's
racist. Will come out.
You're racist. You're a traitor. You're un-American.
Well, I watched a documentary. You're talking about the 9th Ward. I watched a documentary on Hurricane Katrina just the other day, and they had dudes there. And you know what they were going through the donated clothes and all that stuff from the Red Cross, and all they were looking for were cool tennis shoes.
Of course, yeah.
That's all they were looking for. They were looking for Jordan's shit and throwing like everything off to the side.
We've become the spoiled kids of the world, and the unfortunate part is that when a spoiled kid gets yelled at, they don't want to hear it. I mean, look, here's another example. You get a fat kid who is playing a video game, and you hear him on his headset. You're online playing against him, and you know he's a fat kid because he's yelling at his mom, asking him for more fucking Twinkies. Anyone who's ever seen the episode of South Park where Cartman is playing World of Warcraft or some shit, and he gains weight within 2 weeks, he gains like 200 pounds or some shit. Some crazy. He's a cartoon, but he gains some crazy amount of weight, and he just yells at his mom. Mom, bring me food. And that is a perfect example of what we've become. We've become this nation of handouts, and everybody wants something. So look at who our presidential candidates are. Donald Trump represents the elite, rich, we're better than everybody kind of mentality, right? I mean, and I'm not saying that if you vote for Donald Trump, that's who you are, but I mean, look at him, man. He's a billionaire. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love the way he addresses things. I love the way he talks. What does he represent? He doesn't exactly represent a grassroots, everyday barbecuing, soccer mom, dad works at the fucking mill family, dude. I mean, he's a billionaire dude.
But it's not bad to see something to aspire to.
No, it's not. It's not. And I'm totally with that. But I'm just saying, like, people look at Donald Trump and they're like, he represents this. Then you get Bernie Sanders, and everybody who represents this fucking guy and everybody who supports this guy
want free shit.
They're just, and you look at their pictures, there's this meme that just came out, and it's so perfect, man.
Well, remember the fucking fat girl a while back?
Yeah, and you...
Fuck you, I want free shit.
Yeah, it's this mentality of Bernie's going to give us everything that we desire because we deserve it. And it's this handout, spoiled brat. I mean, I got to find this meme.
You know what I think is so funny? Is that with Trump, he gets... They wanna relate Trump to Hitler so much. But that is such a Democrat, such a liberal fucking... That whole... government gives you everything socialist idea, that is not from where Donald Trump comes from.
No.
That is not where that idea comes from.
I gotta find this meme.
I mean, everybody's got it twisted. That's like with this whole, like, when they bring up slavery and all that. The Democrats were the slave owners.
Well, you know what sucks? I'm looking for this meme because it's so perfect. But bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that you look at these candidates, and then, of course, you go over to Hillary. She represents government... Hillary Clinton represents government corruption to its finest. I mean, there are people...
On every level.
On every level. She is government corruption to the core. And you look at these three candidates, and
from cheating on ledgers to filling body bags with her business. I mean,
people need to start looking into some of the shit surrounding the Clintons. We've talked about it in the past, man. There's this guy, Vince Foster, who was speaking out against the Clintons years ago. All right, years ago.
That was the whole Whitewater shit, wasn't it?
He was found dead with 2 bullets in his head, and it was ruled a suicide. Think about that for a minute. How the fuck do you shoot yourself twice in the head?
Well, what came out right now? Go ahead.
And you look at that, and that's not the only time. When you look at the Clintons, and especially Hillary Clinton, I mean, you look at the rape case where... I think it was in the 70s where she was an attorney and she got a rapist off and after the fact was caught on tape saying how, she knew he was guilty, but she got him off.
Did you see Trump's newest commercial?
About Clinton and rape?
Dude.
Yeah, man.
And the images that he puts out there with Bill holding a cigar in his mouth in the background of it.
Yeah.
This guy is going to be a fucking hoot when it comes to the debates because he's already swinging, dude, and
these debates are going to be... I'm considering having...
What's that?
Yeah, according to NBC News, presidential candidate Hillary Clinton violated federal records rules through her use of private emails. Yeah, I mean, so, dude, corruption, dude. Corruption and this I can do whatever I want mentality because I'm a Clinton and I'm in charge.
Than you.
I know better than you. I'm in charge. My husband was president. I was Secretary of State. How dare you ask me? You look at these three candidates, and that is what we deserve. Everybody wants to complain about these people. If you're left, if you're Democrat, liberal on the left, you want to say Donald Trump's evil, this, that, and the other. If you're a right-leaning Republican, you want to point your fingers at these two. Stop pointing the fingers. This is what we deserve.
No, you point a finger, but grab a mirror.
Look at yourself in the mirror. If you're above the age of, I'll be honest, if you're above the age of 25, because I think 25 and younger really haven't contributed too much as an adult to point the blame. But if you're above the age of 25, you need to point this fucking finger at yourself, to include me and Randy. I do it. I'm just as responsible. The last presidential election and the one before that, I was going for McCain and Romney. I was in the Army waving the flag. I volunteered at Republican fucking offices and shit. I made phone calls. I was that dumbass who saw it so black and white. I'm just as guilty. I'm only just awakened to what's going on.
Let's put it this way. If you've been able to vote in a presidential election, whether you voted it or not, you're at fault. You're in the last presidential election. That's how low I'm going. Because either you didn't vote. So all the people who don't vote, and you know what, shit, even an election, if you've skipped an election, you're at fault because it starts at the local level and it goes all the way up.
But I don't hold an 18-year-old kid who is able to vote for the first time. I don't really hold him.
You're looking at your future, man.
Honestly, you can't look at an 18-year-old kid who's gonna vote for the first time as, I mean, they have no life experience. They've gone through school. maybe there might be a small percentage of them who've been raised in households where the parents have taught them and raised them to understand the truth of what democracy is and how it works and how the system is and all that stuff. But 99% of new voters turning the age of 18, they don't know their ass from their elbow.
Right, but the thing is to get in there and learn about the process.
Well, you have
participate
to,
and fucking get in there.
Right, but you have to. But I think you have to turn 18. And I'm not saying raise the voting age. I'm not saying. Well, you know what though? To tell you the truth, I mean maybe the voting age should be raised, because how do you expect an 18-year-old kid to see a candidate come into town? And I mean, you know what? Perfect example. When Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor, I think I was 19, 20 years old, because my daughter was little.
Are you talking about when they fucking threw what's his dick face out of office?
When Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor, he came here to Bakersfield, and he had who was with him, man? He had all kinds of people. He had, of course, his wife was there, but he had, who's the fucking mayor of New York? Giuliani. He had Giuliani with him. 9/11 had just happened, so it had to have been 2002. Because I hadn't joined the Army yet, and my daughter was young because she was on my shoulders. I'll never forget it. He came here to the marketplace to Bakersfield, and there were thousands of people there. And he gave a speech, and he's running for mayor. People were in the crowd just like, Arnold, yeah. Like, it was a fucking fiasco, but they were going to vote for him because it's Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, fucking Predator's killer, is running for governor. He's got my vote.
Well, do you remember why that? I can't even think of the fucker's name that got kicked out of office. Do you remember why he got fucking
Gray Davis?
You know why? Basically, he got his ass thrown out of office.
I just remember car tax being extremely.
That was the exact reason right there. Because my car tax tripled and fuck this guy.
But here's the deal though. Okay, people only voted for Arnold because he was Arnold. I don't give a shit who you are. You can argue that point to me till you're blue in the face. You voted for Arnold because it was Arnold, okay? I was there. I remember it, and I'm guilty of it. I only voted for him, and I couldn't get to that fucking polling booth fast enough. Fuck, man, people were buying, Predator shirts and Governor shirts. It was a joke. Popularity got that guy elected, and I'm not saying forget what he did in office. I'm talking about what it did to elect him. Maybe the voting age should be raised to, 21.
65, because we're still all stupid.
Because
they should raise everything to that age. You shouldn't give. I don't understand this where you can be 16 to drive a car, which is the most deadly weapon that anybody has. You're 16 and fucking stupid. You're out there burning tires, trying to impress chicks, whatever you're doing. But you got to be 18 to buy a shotgun. But you can join the military at 18. But you can drive a car and fucking. And then you can't buy a beer till you're 21. Shit doesn't. They need to streamline all that shit.
And you hear about those things. Like recently, it was raised the smoking age to 21 in California. And at first, I was upset about it because I'm thinking to myself, as a veteran, military personnel smoke, a large majority of them, and they dip. So you're telling me these kids and these people can go enlist in the military and potentially get deployed somewhere and die, but they can't buy cigarettes.
But you can vote?
In California. But I've given it a lot of thought, and I don't want to get into the tobacco issue, but voting, how do you expect an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid to understand how the world works in just 2 years from turning 18? You know what I mean? Maybe they need some life experience. Maybe they need to learn what it's like to pay taxes, to have a job, to pay rent, to pay for your car tags. I mean, you need insurance. I mean, you got to learn what that shit's about before you go vote for somebody who's going to, represent you in regards to all this shit.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter's almost 19, and she's fucking useless.
Let's take her, for example. She's a headstrong girl. She's smart. She's got a job. She works, right? And I'm asking you this not as her father, but just as just a voter and an older, not older guy, but you know what I mean, dude, an adult. Do you think she's capable of voting?
She's very capable of wiping her ass at this point. I mean,
I'm being honest with you.
Her car breaks down, and it's like, what do I do? I'm supposed to wave a fucking wand and go, well, no, stupid, call a mechanic,
Right.
Go down and get it checked out. And I mean, but this is also our fault as parents too, because we shelter these little shits all through their life.
Yeah, I think parents are
That's
responsible.
spoiled again.
But I look at her and her boyfriend. And they're, like I said, they're good kids, and I would trust me. I wouldn't expect her to, or I wouldn't ask her to watch my kid if I didn't think she was responsible or respectful. I mean, she comes here and watches my boy every now and then. She's a good kid, but I don't think her or her boyfriend or kids that age can get out of high school. That doesn't give them, like, they don't get a diploma, and when they get the diploma, they don't get, like, this boost of knowledge about the real world. They don't know. Fuck, man, I didn't understand how the world worked until, honestly, until very recently, until I quit drinking, but, which, by the way, I'm 10 months today. But, you gotta learn. You gotta get out there. You gotta work and pay taxes and experience the real world before some fucking idiot pulls up in a bus and asks for you to vote, because you have no idea about these things.
Okay, then they shouldn't be able to make a commitment to the military for the next 4 years at 18 either.
And that is a huge problem. I think that there's your conundrum right there, is that how...
See, I want all these ages streamlined, because 16 to get a car, when you're given a loaded weapon that kills more people, they bitch about guns and all that. How many more people die from cars every year? Die in car accidents, kids fucking around, whatever, in general. And then you've got smoking is now 21, but
in California,
so you and Hawaii, I think too. There's like 2 states, but so you're old enough to vote at 18 here in this state and in federally, but you're not old enough to decide whether you can have cigarettes. But you can join the military, but you can't fucking. It's fucking stupid.
I just think, you're an adult at 18. Okay, great.
But how many people are ready to go out and start a house? Here's an apartment, make a budget, which nobody budgets anymore. That's like saying balance your checkbook. Nobody does that shit anymore either. But, here, go, like my daughter and her boyfriend. All right, here, go get an apartment and go make sure. They'd be home in 2 weeks borrowing shit.
I was a dad at 17. I turned 18, graduated high school. Within 3 months, I was living on my own in my apartment. Working a job in the oil fields. I thought I would Mr. fucking hot shot big stuff, man. I'm an adult. I'm going to do what I want. Until taxes came, the following tax season, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Okay? Until I got laid off my first time. Funny, because when everything's going smooth, you think you're a hot shot. Yo, I could watch the news, and I'm going to vote for George Bush and all this shit. But you don't exactly, you really don't know. I mean, I was so excited that first time voting. I was like, yes, my voice means something. And I was just voting because I knew what my family all voted for. And I went and I represented pretty much what my family, I was an extension of my parents at that point. I didn't learn how the real world worked, like I said, until very recently. But I didn't start knowing until at least 4 or 5 years later. 9/11 had happened. I'm in the military. I'm getting some life experience underneath my belt. I understand what legislation means and how it works. Not just what I learned in high school, but I'm understanding what, like, pork bills are and all this shit that you need to know. Okay? Because, the average teenager isn't going to sit there and watch fucking Fox News or CNN and C-SPAN. And even if they do, that's all bullshit anyways.
We still don't know half this shit anyway, because who the fuck knew what a super delegate was until 6 months ago?
I mean, yeah, how many teenage kids are actually going on social media and going on the internet and watching and paying attention to real life shit? They're not. They're not. It's not happening. And so you turn 18, your vote counts, and then you're gonna go with all your friends because you have a gay friend and you want to make sure that you love that gay friend and you want him to have rights. And the only candidate really out there saying everyone's equal that would serve somebody like that, you would pick Bernie Sanders. Or your dad at the country club and you and all your friends, or you got money and stuff, and you can't relate to illegal immigrants because the only ones you know are the ones that come and cut your lawn
that are cutting the fairway
once a week. You know what I mean? That are fucking raking the fucking sandbar at your golf course. Okay, so you're gonna go and probably vote for Trump, right? I mean, that's just the way it works. But you have no life experience of your own. I just think the voting age should be raised to 21.
Well, then there's also the whole thing about you hear all that whole thing where you hear that, like, when you were young, that when people are young, that basically everybody is to a degree a Democrat, and then as you get older and you start making shit, you want to keep it, so then you become a Republican.
Yeah, I've heard that, but you look at the way society's going, and it's sad. And then you look at these movies. We've talked about these movies, whether it was Batman vs. Superman or Captain America Civil War, and you look at the theme of all these films about civil war, civil unrest. You look at Walking Dead, where society's just destroyed. In that case, it's zombies. But you look at the Game of Thrones, this competition for power and war and division. I think our minds are getting ready and getting prepared, and even though it's not here, it's gonna come. It's gonna happen. There's gonna be some violence. You're gonna see someone killed, maybe of importance, or you're gonna see something horrible happen at one of these rallies, and it's just gonna ignite the flame.
This is nothing new, though.
It's nothing new, but I think the problem is that now you have people who are 9/11 did something to us. 9/11. It might have, on the surface, brought us together and united us, and we went and fucking destroyed Afghanistan and went and fucking created havoc in Iraq, and we had these wars, and now we're just washing our hands clean, and we're coming home, and it's over with. But you look at the aftermath of 9/11, and it actually, I don't want to say the terrorists or whoever fucking you think is responsible for 9/11 won, but we have become way worse than we were 15 years ago. And even prior to that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they got to spread anarchy.
There's complete anarchy. There's complete division. I mean, we can't even agree on race. And in racism, in 2001, racism might have existed on some form of level, but it wasn't like in the news every single day. And so you look at what's become of us since that event. We're a different nation, man. It sucks.
Well, I think too what we've like when Siegfried and Roy got attacked by the tigers, they forgot that they were fucking tigers. That they go, oh, like this animal loves us and we're friends and all, and they forgot that that's a tiger and that tiger will fuck you up. We have been under this mask that we are civilized, that the human race is civilized, that we aren't animals, that we have taught ourselves that, and if society is working the way it is, and it goes down to basic principles of there's certain rules that have to be in place for us to be able to live in a community and society. And we'll go as simple as do not park in the red area in front of a store or whatever, or hey, red means stop, asshole. That doesn't mean 4 cars after the light turns red. Stop. We have a breakdown at the simplest levels.
I mean, it's okay to have everything that we have, but appreciate it. Understand what it takes. I mean, people
earn it.
Earn it. People think that food's just created out of nothing. They don't understand. On our last episode, we talked about the high-speed rail. And in the high-speed rail, the problem with it, for the most part, okay, is that do you want to pay for water, right, to have water sent to the valley, or do you want to pay for this high-speed rail? The high-speed rail is going to interfere with agriculture, interfere with the water programs because we're in a drought. That's pretty much the gist of it. There's a lot more to it, but that's for the gist of it, that's it. What do you want? What do you want? Do you want the high-speed rail? Do you want agriculture and food? And all the people who are for the high-speed rail don't realize that food is extremely important. You need it to live. You need food. Maybe you don't need fucking almonds to live, but you need food, man. Maybe you're not a pistachio guy, or you're not into carrots and stuff, but all that shit that's grown here is food that goes other places. But they'd rather have a high-speed rail because they can get to Frisco or LA in a couple hours and go party for the weekend, or go watch a game, or go hang out. It's want versus need.
There's ways to do both, though. These people are full of shit.
Sure there are, but when you have too many special interests, because it only gets worse the higher you go.
Run that goddamn water pipeline right along the fucking side of the goddamn rail. Shut up. Works. But nobody would think commonly.
Nobody would. Well, no, because the one person who would think like that would upset both sides, and that's the only time that both sides of our government, left and right, can agree is when somebody speaks out against both of them. Hence, Edward Snowden. Okay? Edward Snowden is a perfect example. This dude came out and said, you know what? This is fucked. Everything's fucked. And everybody from Republicans to Democrats are pointing fingers at this guy, saying that this guy's a fucking traitor. This guy's gone. This guy will never come back to America without going to jail or killed. He spoke out, And look what happened to him.
Well, this is what has intrigued me this entire time with this whole Trump candidacy, is that he's ran his mouth a lot, and I'm like, this is great. Let's watch this. Let's see. Because I swore he had a bet with somebody to see how much shit he could talk without before he got thrown out of the race, and he kept doing all right, And it came now that both sides hated him.
Well, yeah.
Now, if both sides hate him, I'm interested.
Definitely.
You know, if the Republicans, the hierarchy of the Republican Party doesn't want him around, and the hierarchy of the Democrat Party doesn't want him around at all.
We've had Ken Mettler in, and we've had TJ Esposito, and TJ Esposito said straight out, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I don't take endorsements or donations from political parties. That's a smart move, and I'm with that. But then Ken Mettler comes on, and Ken Mettler's like, yeah, you know, I'm a conservative Republican. And because, see, I don't think you can run for Congress and be successful by going out there and say, you know what, I'm not either one of these fucking parties. I'm representing the people. I'm representing the Constitution. I'm serving, American
You're
values.
going to have to go in underneath the guise of that and then change while you're in office. Which is exactly how things like. Unfortunately, we talk. A lot of us veterans. Which is exactly what as McCarthy did, but in reverse, where he got a lot more liberal as he got in.
Yeah, but dude, money's so powerful. Money can change people. I've never had a lot of it. It's funny because I was just going over my income on the Social Security website, just going over seeing how much I've made over the years. It's pretty pathetic looking at my military career. But anyways, I've never had a large amount of money. You know, I've had, like anybody else, tax returns, the occasional loan I might have gotten or something. But I've never had, like, a huge amount of money to where I can feel the change. Large amounts of money will change a man or a woman. And when you get elected into Congress and now you got lobbyists and you're invited to all these nice ritzy parties and you're surrounded by rich people and you're in with the crowd, you can be the most devout person as far as your views and beliefs, but a huge percentage of people are going to get changed in one way or another.
Well, yeah,
we've seen it. The proof is in the pudding. You can see it happen.
We've had on a small level. You can look at a small level, like one of your friends. That asshole, like, will hang over all the time. He's broke, never has a dime to his name, blah, blah. He'll hang over at your house, drink all your beer. This is when we were younger. Then that son of a bitch would get his check back from the government, get a couple of grand back in a tax refund, and you wouldn't see that fucker for about a month or two. He'd go out and piss off all his money, find out that he went, did this, bought this, did all this shit, and then after it's gone, he's sitting back on your couch, broke his piss with his hand out again.
3 6 Mafia have this song. The hook is something about money didn't change me, it changed you. And that song always hit me kind of hard because they're rapping about how it's against some other rapper they knew, but it's about how money changes people and money will change you. I mean, look at what Biggie Smalls said.
Ow, stop, it hurts. Ow, I'm getting shot. No.
No. Notorious B.I.G. said that one song he made with Puffy before he died, he says, more money you get, the more problems you make, right, or something like that. I was never really a Biggie fan, but I think what happened with McCarthy is that he got there, and yeah, maybe he holds on to some values and stuff, but here he is, House Majority Leader, and his first ad he puts out that's blasted everywhere is how he helps veterans. And it's got one of my old friends on the ad, and it's all about veterans. I take care of veterans, but that's not the number one problem facing people here in this congressional district. That's not. People are worried about jobs because they're getting laid off.
But what's the percentage of people who are veterans?
What are the percentage of veterans without legs? So it's even a narrower. Okay, yeah, you take care of veterans. Okay, fine, that's a narrow demographic. You just said it. But what are the percentage of veterans without legs? There's a lot of them, but it's an even narrower percentage. So you're narrowing a demographic down to even the narrowest of that demographic, okay?
But it's a heartstring tugger.
And I'm a veteran. I was very good friends, brothers, with the guy in that ad. We don't talk anymore. We have a difference of opinion, a huge difference of opinion. But he's a close friend of mine. He's been in my house many times. He was my co-host, one of my co-hosts on the veteran podcast I did. They come out with this ad, and yeah, okay, I mean, this person was close to me, and he's been through hell, and he's a fucking hero for everything he did in combat. But when Kevin McCarthy came out with that ad, he wasn't speaking to his congressional district about issues that affect them. He was talking to his congressional district to try and win over their hearts and minds by using this veteran and showing his prosthetics and showing and telling his story, so that by the end of that ad, somebody will watch that and be like, "Oh man, Kevin McCarthy, he really cares about these guys."
And that's the only ad he's ran. That's the only ad I've seen from him. He hasn't put out an issues ad.
No, and that is the problem. Therein lies the problem. Is that when your first big ad, regardless of if you know you're going to win the election or not, you've literally won the election for 12 years that you've been in Congress. No one's ever come close to beating you. So you can come out with an ad about whatever you want. He has that liberty because no one's ever challenged him. But people are starting to wake up. And it's like, wait a minute. Do you think the guy who just got laid off from the oil fields out here, who wakes up in the morning because he's not going to work, his kids are hungry, bills are piling up, do you think when he wakes up, the first fucking thing that goes through his mind is, man, are veterans being taken care of? Absolutely not. What about the farmers who, the drought's affecting? Their crops are being affected by the drought. They know that they're having to pay more for what 10 years ago they weren't paying for because this drought has affected everything. Do you think when they wake up and they're looking at their almond trees or they're looking at their carrot fields that the first thing that goes through their mind when they get in their truck in the morning is, God, man, these veterans are being taken care of? No. And here's the thing. I'm in a unique position because I know, and a lot of you listening out there here in Bakersfield and Kern County and in this congressional district, I know that you're thinking this. But nobody wants to be the person to come out and say, hey, wait a minute, man, wait a minute. We need to care about our jobs, the water problems. There's issues affecting families right now, and I'm sorry, it's not veterans. I know you're thinking that because that's the truth. But here's the problem, and it goes back to what we're saying. Nobody wants to be the person to stand up and say that because you'll immediately get labeled un-American. You'll immediately get labeled someone who doesn't care about your veterans, when that's not the case. Because I'm pretty sure that these guys getting laid off in the oil fields either are veterans or have family members who are veterans, so they do care about veterans. And the farmers probably have sons and daughters who join the military, or maybe they themselves are veterans, so they do care. But that's not a priority. So when you have this congressman come out and spend God knows how much money on this commercial, because I can't even listen to fucking Pandora without hearing my old friend's voice come up and then Kevin McCarthy approving the message. It's everywhere. You spend that amount of money on a message that isn't even important, there's your disconnect. And now you have an 18-year-old kid who's going to graduate in the next couple weeks, and all they've heard on TV, the radio, Pandora, wherever the fuck else it's played, all this kid hears is Kevin McCarthy and this veteran story and how he cares about veterans. And then for the next few months, all he's going to hear is that and hear your name. Then when he goes to the poll, he's going to go vote for you because you've managed to get the ads out and you've managed to sink that into him. When in reality, this candidate, Kevin McCarthy, isn't talking about, this Congressman Kevin McCarthy isn't talking about anything right now affecting the people in this valley. That's how he comes out. And that's why I'm saying voting age should be raised a little bit, because an 18-year-old kid isn't going to understand that. And I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm not saying all of them won't. But large majority of them just won't. That's the truth. I'm sorry if that offends you, if you're 18, 19, 20 years old, or we got a couple of kids who are 16. But you got to get some life experience. You got to know what's going on behind the scenes. You got to understand what's happening.
Well, you always think when your parents tell you, like all the lessons that your parents taught you when you were a kid. And you'd hear them say, you're going to learn when you get older, and you go, no, they're full of shit. It's not going to happen to me. And then you hit about 25, 30, and you're like, holy fuck, they were right. Right down the lane. And it's just like, yeah. Well, you were saying in a position about, like, that you're in the spot, you say things that people don't want to hear you say about, like, the veterans. And about us being spoiled. You know what I get shit for? I will not give a dime to Toys for Tots. Nothing. Because you would see years ago, you would see people going on there and they would have shame. They would be like, because they would always show the Toys for Tots that have, the Marines out there and the cops out there going, today we're doing our toy giveaway. And you would see people basically, we just lost our job, Everything's not going well, and unfortunately, we have to come here and, get my kid a toy for Christmas. Now you see people in line, and you could go down the videotape from last year to the year before, and you'll see the same fucking people in line going, woohoo, it's Christmas shopping time. That they're guaranteed, they're counting on that shit being there for them, that they're just going to get this free shit, and they're like, yeah, it better be good shit, motherfuckers. Like, we need good shit. You guys better have donated good stuff, or we ain't even going to like this shit.
Here's another example. Anonymous does that homeless thing, the feed the homeless thing. Okay, did you ever check that out? How it went? Okay, the Bakersfield Anonymous guys here in town, they do this Operation Feed the Homeless, and they do it because it's illegal. Remember, they were telling us it's illegal to feed the homeless. That's why they do it, because they're like, you need to feed people who don't have food. When you go and you look at the pictures, there's not homeless people showing up to that, dude. There's people who...
This is just at the park getting free shit.
There's clearly not people who are fucking homeless going and getting food. And I asked them, I said, hey, guys, some of those people don't look homeless. And their response was, well, we're not going to turn down people for food.
Right. And
okay,
but you can't
now,
tell somebody not to go piss in what bathroom. You think you're going to tell you can't feed somebody?
But now it's like, but you're feeding the homeless. Like, it's a homeless food drive. And there's people there who clearly aren't homeless, who aren't hungry. There was a lady there who was had to have been 180 pounds. Okay, a big woman. And
why do homeless people always have fucking dogs?
I don't know. I've always wanted that. But they said, well, we're not going to turn anybody down. Okay, that's honorable, and you have a good heart, and they're good people. I understand they mean well.
It's in a great place, but this is where these fuckers take advantage of it.
Exactly, they take advantage of it. It's like the Krispy Kreme donut. Krispy Kreme opens up, and you got people the same people waiting for Krispy Kreme to open up and wait in line for free fucking donuts.
Your free 2-ounce Slurpee on 7-Eleven.
Right, are the ones bring your own cup at Slurpee Day.
No, they gave you a 2-ounce shot glass of Slurpee. And now you remember 3 years ago when gas was fucking $5 a gallon?
Yeah, I remember that.
I know some fat asshole who would load up his whole family in a minivan and drive around this whole goddamn county basically to get a fucking 2-ounce cup of... That's fucking creepy looking, dude. Get a 2-ounce cup of Slurpee. Yes.
Yeah, I think I know who you're referring to.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
What a pig.
But 2 fucking ounces of Slurpee and probably spent $35 worth of gas.
It's the American Slurpee mentality. It's like, where can I go to get the most free shit? I mean, yesterday was 50-cent corn dog day at Sonic. The only reason I went is because I passed it on the way home. I wanted to give my little baby boy a corn dog and watch him walk around with it. I thought it would be cute. But I think in my truck, I had like $4 in change. So I was like, fuck it. I'll use it towards some corn dogs. But I'm not the kind of...
like Oprah, you get a corn dog and you get a corn... Just start throwing them out the window at people.
But I'm not the kind of person that does that. But it's that spoiled mentality that's brought us to where we are. And, people want to complain about these presidential candidates. This is what we deserve. This is what we asked for.
Well, it's those fucking extreme couponing assholes. You're not going and using these coupons to go get 700 bottles of shampoo so you can go donate them to the homeless shelter. No, you have a fucking storage room underneath your house where you have 700 bottles of fucking Purell that are going to last 7 lifetimes for what?
My wife's bad about that, man. We were to go to a store and we were to see something and it was like for what price for something, let's say it's $3.99. But if you buy 2, you save 50 cents. And I'm like, wait a minute. So we can buy 1 for $3.99, or if we buy 2, which is going to go to about 8 something,
how about we keep $3.50 in our fucking pocket and...
Yeah, and she's bad about that, man. That's probably a bad example, but you get the point. Like, she'll do that, and she'll wait in line, or we'll be paying for something, and like,
the example that I always see is like people going into Hot Topic, and they have like buy 1 shirt, get 1 half off. So they find like 1 shirt that they want to buy, and then they're like, we got to find another shirt that's half off. And it's like, well, why don't you, if you're really having to look that hard to find one that's why don't you just keep that half off fucking money and keep $10
and keep that 1 shirt
instead of
well, it's because the deal. They want the deal. But
it's not a fucking deal, you asshole. You're still spending fucking $10 more.
It's not. How about just not vote for these people? I mean, what would happen if nobody went and voted in November because nobody wanted to? That's not going to happen because you're going to have your hardliners. You're going to have people who are going to go vote for Trump, Bernie, Hillary.
Well, there's people who are going to vote just by whatever letters at the end of the name, you know.
It's fucking dumb, man. And if people were to really study the Constitution and study the founding, not the founding fathers, but the founding principles of this nation, they would understand that political parties from the very get-go were frowned upon. They didn't agree with political parties. These guys knew this shit. They didn't have electricity or fucking piped sewage, but they knew, and they wrote down in books and on paper that political parties would do this to us. And here we are, and it's happened. It's fucking happened. They knew it. Because you know what? Whether you have internet, running water, all this high-speed shit we have, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact of the basic principles of how a society and how a democracy works. They knew what would happen. And you know what? I hate to say it because a lot of people who've said this before me are people like that black preacher that Obama went to go see, that crazy liberal professor in Colorado. But I'm going to join them by saying this one phrase. Our chickens have come home to roost. They have. We deserve every little bit of what we're looking at. We have created this mess ourselves. We have fucking dug our own hole. We've made our own bed, and now we gotta lay in it. We gotta fix it. It's up to us, the people, not these politicians, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what we do to increase voter turnout? We just figured it out.
What's that?
We get on election day. You incorporate. You get whoever you vote for, whatever you're fine to vote whoever you want for. But we get 7-Eleven involved in voting, and you get a free. We'll make it even 4 ounces. Red, white, and blue Slurpee for your instead of I voted sticker. We're gonna give you a free 4-ounce fucking Slurpee. And I know one fat asshole who'd fucking cheat and vote 7 times. I bet that fucking day.
But then you know what would happen? You'd get candidates coming out and they'd stand out there and be like, "I prefer blue. I prefer red because here's why I want red." They would corrupt it. That would happen. Let's just say hypothetically.
There's more white in this Slurpee than there is.
That would happen. The red dye was imported from India. Why aren't we using red dye from America? That red dye was imported.
The blue dye was genetically modified and not organic.
Yeah, man. The blue dye was genetically modified and tested on animals, man. I'm not for the blue dye. It's all about the red. They would politicize the fuck out of that shit, man. I'm upset about something that doesn't even exist. But speaking of red, white, and blue, we got the red, white, and blue party again at B Riders on July 2nd. You guys got to check this show out. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here's what I want you to think. Think Mardi Gras meets St. Patty's Day, only it's 4th of July. It's going to be a Mardi Gras style party, but instead of green, it's going to be red, white, and blue. There's going to be beads. There's going to be bands. There's going to be people fucking dressed up. I think one dude's dressing up as Colonel Sanders. We're going to have Abe Lincoln in the house, some patriot guys walking around banging on drums with tricorn hats. We're going to have music, booze. If that's your thing, it's all going to be there, man. We're going to have motorcycle dudes out front, American Legion riders.
Okay.
This is going to be the most American-ass party. Bakersfield hasn't even seen anything like that. And yes, we're calling it Freedom Fest. It's going to be awesome, man. So come, enjoy it. $7 pre-sales, $8 at the door. It's going to be awesome. And with your ticket, you get a raffle because there's going to be a 50-50 raffle. There's going to be a few other sponsors coming along that we got to meet with. They're going to be giving out free stuff you can raffle off. That we're going to raffle off. So look for it. It's on Facebook. Check out Freedom Fest. We'll be posting it both on our walls and on the show walls. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited for this. It's going to be a really good time. Freedom Fest, motherfucker. Check us out on the website, ChadmanArendShow.com, Facebook, Instagram. Where else are we?
Everywhere.
We're everywhere. Check us out. All right, this is the Chadman Arend Show.